Hey guys, it's Krystal Lee Moore Lucier here, also known as your Home Sweet Home 519 Realtor, Krystal Lee Moore. And this is Realtor Life, a fun and entertaining look at life in the trenches as a realtor or entrepreneur in Ontario. And I'm so excited because today we have a special guest. Welcome to Janic Gorayeb, who runs Ripple Effect Leadership here in London, Ontario. We're going to have a nice chat with Janic, find out a little bit more about her company and some takeaways for us entrepreneurs. So let's just get started. Welcome, Janic.
Thank you, Krystal. Thanks for this opportunity. Love to chat with you and to connect with your community.
Absolutely. Well, so happy you're here. And I think your company is so cool. So I guess the first thing I would like to ask you is how did you get here? Like, how did this even become something that is your passion project?
Good question. So I would say that I come from an entrepreneurial family. My dad owned his own business many years ago in the food industry. I have a lot of cousins that have built businesses over the years, from like restaurants to the fashion industry, kind of everything in between. And looking back at my career when I worked in nonprofit and pharmaceutical, so a 24-year career, I had three main roles in those positions, and they were all kind of like entrepreneurial positions, in that they were
Okay.
new roles where I had the opportunity to grow them from the ground up. And I think I realized over the years that I just loved that concept to creation idea. And I got
Yeah.
really good at it, to be honest. Like I just loved building things from the ground up. And so fast forward to my career around 2012, 2013, where I felt like my career had plateaued. I
Okay.
had never had a traditional leadership title in any of the organizations I worked in, although I always had leadership roles and managing and leading different committees and teams and projects and national projects and provincial projects. I
Wow.
never had that traditional, leadership title. And
Yes.
so I had this 40 before 40 list when I was
Okay.
36 years old. And one of the things was to do my master's in leadership, because I'd found this really cool program through Royal Roads University in Victoria, BC,
Okay.
where it was set up as an online program to do while working full time. And
Yeah.
I applied, and yeah, and I got in. And when I first started the program, in my mind, I had the idea that I wanted to eventually become like an executive director of a nonprofit or run my own company one day. I
Okay.
didn't know what that was. And so halfway through the program, I realized I didn't necessarily want to work in nonprofit anymore, like not in these specific roles, but I really wanted to start my own business. And so I took everything that I learned from my education, my
Yeah.
career, my experience at RRU, and I started to think about my own company. And I started very, very part-time the first few years. I was working full-time still in nonprofit
Yeah.
until last June, when I went full-time with Ripple Effect Leadership. So it's been pretty exciting. Of course, there's lots of ebbs and flows with entrepreneurship, as you know.
Yes.
And I'm really now just trying to help other entrepreneurs kind of push through mindset, shifting their
Yeah.
mindset, being the leader of their business, helping people with managing imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Always told, you're so organized, Janic, and you're so creative. So I'm putting all that in my business as well and helping other
Right.
entrepreneurs and founders. Yeah.
That's amazing. And I think that's so important because you said something really key. And I think a lot of us will learn this, but through trial and error. So if anyone's listening and you can learn it from us, um, I find the shift really happens when you go all in.
Yeah.
And Tony Robbins calls it like he took a story about and I'm gonna get this wrong, so sorry for any fact checkers, but it was like a general who they brought the boats to the island and they burned the boats, like they burned them because they're like the only way we're leaving here is in our enemies' boats.
Mm.
Um, and it actually was like a mantra for me, like burn the boats, because a lot of the times, like you said, like you were doing it kind of part-time, which makes sense, right? That's what we do. That's what I did with real estate too. But it's when you finally make the leap and say, like, I'm gonna do this, or find out that I'm not doing this,
Yeah.
right? But did you not notice like your growth was probably exponential when you made that decision, even though it's the scary decision?
Huge. Yeah. And, I'm really happy I worked on my business part-time for so many years because I was able to do a lot of trial and error and and
Yes.
test out different things, test out different programs, test out different types of webinars, different
Yeah.
online launches. And I'll also say, like, I wear two hats with Ripple Effects. So it's the working online with entrepreneurs and solopreneurs and founders. But the other
Yeah.
hat I wear is I still do a lot of work with nonprofits,
Nice.
small to medium size. And so I help different teams kind of build their team connections as well as strategic planning. So lots of opportunities to do like in-person and online workshops with organizations. But yeah, when I took that leap, it was scary, of
Yeah.
course. It was huge. It was scary, but I always had my dad in the back of my mind because before he passed away, he said to me, "You're ready. You're ready to start your business."
Oh,
And I wrote that down. Whew. I wrote that down on my whiteboard
yeah.
as a
Oh,
reminder.
wow.
Yeah,
Thank you for sharing that.
you're welcome.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Um, so I think one thing that probably people that are listening, and I was curious too. So you've already explained it to me, but um the name of your company, the
Yeah.
ripple effect. It sounds like we could come up with a whole bunch of very obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But guessing is only brings us so far. Let's hear it from the source. Where
Yeah.
does the name come from?
Yeah, I love this story actually. Thanks for asking it. When I was doing my master's of leadership, the big kind of end of program project, research project that we had to do was called a capstone. So we
Yep.
had to do research within the organization that we were working in at that time. And at that time, we were having a lot of challenges with the leadership of the organization. And so I was really kind of focused on the core values of the organization. It was feeling like people weren't living the core values internally
Okay.
and that was rippling out
Yep.
externally. And so when I was doing the research project, we had to also include a metaphor within the project, and I chose the ripple effect because
Amazing.
it was
Okay.
making sense to me when I was doing the research, and there was like surveys involved, and chatting with internal as well as external stakeholders, and so that was my submission, right? So living the core
Nice.
values is super important because it is the core of an organization, the core of a team. And if we're
Yes.
not living those core values internally, there is a negative ripple effect. And when we do live those internally, there's obviously a positive ripple effect. And so when I was thinking of starting my own business, my two best friends and I were actually at a Gypsy Kings concert in Barrie, Ontario,
Nice.
sitting in the hotel, and we were brainstorming. And it was actually one of my friends who was like, the ripple effect. Like it just is so you. And I said, oh my goodness, ripple effect leadership.
Yeah.
Because I was toggling between, do I use my first and last name or use a
Yep.
company name? And I'm like, well, people are always messing up my first and last name, although I thought I just don't want to deal with that.
Yeah.
So let's do a company name. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's how I came up with it. And so, yes, I do love water. So that makes sense as well. I love being in
Yes.
water. But instead of using a water symbol for my logo, I chose a hummingbird because you can see here,
Yeah.
as I love hummingbirds.
Yes.
And so the graphic designer that I worked with, he made the wings of the hummingbird rippling in my logo. So we
Oh,
thought,
I
you know,
love that so much. That's so cool. Um, that is amazing. And I think it's interesting too, because I was going to mention the two things, and we'll just do them now because I feel like we're gonna have so much fun stuff in this conversation. I will forget if I leave it to the end.
no worries.
First thing was you mentioned that you both work with the leaders and the teams. And I think, and just to your point, that things can ripple, good ripples, just like bad ripples. So you can have an awesome leadership team, but if everyone else hasn't bought in or isn't part of that, it's not really going to change the organization.
Exactly.
So I love that you do both.
Yeah.
And then the other thing was when you mentioned being able to do your master's
Mhm.
virtually and part-time online. That's a huge thing now. So I actually got my MBA from the University of Fredericton, other side of the country. But same thing, virtual, online, part-time. And I think it's a really great, like for, I had found out about it through a colleague, but it's kind of, there are lots of ads online, but we can be really inundated. So two people here that have done it, it really is a great experience if it's something you're interested in. And you can, it's not like before it would be like, I think it's actually less expensive to
Sorry,
do
I'm
it this.
sorry, Krystal. I'm house sitting
That is
and
okay.
I got a kitten that just jumped us.
Oh,
Say hi, Jack.
hello.
Okay, bye.
Hi, Chuck.
I'm sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt.
No worries. This real life, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Um, but I think it's really important for people, like if
yeah,
you're looking to expand your education or your experience, you don't have to give it all up for 3 years and find like $150,000 or more. It's actually, I mean, it's still pretty pricey, but you can do it less expensively. It might take you a little bit longer. Um,
yeah,
but it, I mean, we had a capstone as well, and that's when you said the capstones. Oh, that's amazing, because
yeah,
you are doing the same learning, but we're all A-type personalities in the entrepreneur world anyway, so we have
yeah.
time to do both.
Yeah, absolutely. And I loved Royal Roads because the way they had the program set up, it was mostly online for the 2 years, but we had
Nice.
an opportunity to be on campus in
Hmm.
Victoria at Royal Roads University. And for
Oh, that's
anybody
cool.
who loves X-Men, Hatley Castle is on the grounds
Wow.
the campus there. And
Okay.
I got the cat here again. And so they filmed a lot of the X-Men school scenes actually at Hatley Castle. But anyway, all that to say,
That's
it was
cool.
such a beautiful campus, such a beautiful experience. We had the opportunity to be on campus for 2 residencies,
Okay.
2 weeks first year and then 2 weeks the second year. And it was interesting because that's definitely when imposter syndrome was creeping in for me, or when I was noticing it for the first time.
Yeah.
And that first week in residency, figured out that everybody was feeling the exact same way. And we're talking about like directors of hospitals. We're
Yeah.
talking about, um, managers and directors of nonprofits, and everybody was feeling like they didn't belong and that they like, what? I think I can do a master's in leadership. Yeah, anybody can, because it really comes down to how we lead ourselves.
Yeah.
That's my message with Ripple Effect Leadership. It's all about how we lead ourselves and how we show up for our communities and our
Yes.
clients and our colleagues as
Yeah.
well, which I think that a lot of people forget about, right?
Absolutely. I think no, this is fantastic. I love your perspective on things. And
Yeah.
it is true. Any room, and I feel whenever we're worried that we feel like we might not belong, there's actually a really great YouTube video. I think it's a TED Talk. And it's more for women, but I think it applies to anyone. Like,
Mhm.
you deserve a seat at the table. So when you are in the room, sit at the table.
Yeah,
Like, don't
exactly.
think that, oh, like they're more qualified, they should go, I'll just wait back. Because I
Mhm.
think, especially women, but I think anyone, it could be people who are younger, um, it's that extra boost of confidence, even if you don't feel it, just to
Yeah.
act like you feel it, because I
Yeah.
think that makes all the difference. And what you said is absolutely true. I've noticed that too.
Yeah.
Whenever we feel like maybe not enough, everyone's feeling the same way. Right? We're on
Exactly.
the same boat.
Exactly. And I think anytime there's something new that we're working on,
Yes.
imposter syndrome is always going to creep in, or those nervousness is always going to creep in. Anytime you start a
Yeah.
new project, anytime you have a new client, right?
Yeah.
Like it's always there. And I think it's always, as long as people are willing to learn and
Yes.
learn from those experiences, whether they're positive or negative, and then like shifting down the road, then I
Yeah.
think it goes a long way for sure.
Amazing. Okay, so little takeaway for people. What would you say the core skills that leaders and organizations should focus on? Obviously, there's a long list and you delve into that in your
Yeah.
programs. But if you had to say some core skills that like the foundation, what do you
Hmm.
think most important is a tough, but what do you think
Yeah.
would you pick if you had to
Core
say
skills, core
something?
values, or yeah, both.
Whatever you feel, whatever you think is most valuable.
I think that like there's about 120 different types of core values out there, right? So I don't necessarily want to say exactly what is the most important, because it always depends on the organization and the team and what their mission and
Sure.
vision are. Is. And so I would say that whatever the core values are of that organization, it is so important for everybody from top to bottom, bottom to top,
Yeah.
side to side to be living them. And
Yeah.
that it's super important for when people are hired for different roles and for different companies, that they talk about the core values of the company and making sure that that you're hiring people, the right people,
Yes.
aligned with those core values, and that it's really important that it doesn't stop there. I mean, organizations spend so much time and money and energy. Come here, Chuck. Sorry, he's all over the place.
I'm gonna have to give him a credit in this.
I know, right? Yeah, you're all over the place. I think that a lot of organizations forget about their core values. And it's not about like talking about them every day and every week. And it's not enough to just have them on a poster on a wall in a
Yeah.
boardroom as
Yeah.
well, but also making sure that it's tied into like professional development, personal development
Mhm.
as well. All that to say that when we are living those core values, those skills are going to grow. And
Yes.
when we are living those core values internally, it ripples out to team culture.
I
And
see what you did there and I like it.
if there's a good team culture,
Yes.
right, it means people like coming into work, enjoy working with their colleagues, enjoy
Yes.
the work that they do. And if there's good team culture, it
Yes.
ripples out team engagement.
Yes.
And if there's engagement, which we just talking about this, you and I, engagement has been difficult
Yeah.
everywhere in all industries. And when there's good team engagement, there's those positive services delivered. And then that ripples
Yeah.
out to client satisfaction. And then that ripples out to your brand loyalty as well. I'm not a brand strategist, but I'm just saying that does ripple out. And I think
It
that people
does.
forget that those core values of that company, of the organization, or of even your own personal core values, are
Mhm.
we living them? Are we,
It's a
yeah.
really good point you're making. And I think that the two things, I think if you don't have buy-in from the team, you get, I know there was a big wave of quiet quitting
Yes.
for so long. And the thing is, like, on one level, you could look at it as some were, is that employees were basically time theft, like they were just kind of sitting getting money for not doing it.
Yeah.
But and that's fine if you just want to break ties. But if you want to build something that matters, find out why, right? Why
Yeah.
are people not engaged? Why are they not loving it? Um, and then I think the other thing, so a lot of entrepreneurs, like we dig into this process. And I know
Mhm.
for me, I became self-employed in 2012, and I didn't really figure out my own core values until 2016.
Right.
Because what happens, I think a lot of us, if you flip in, and you did this kind of path too, you flip in from an employee to a business owner, I think it takes a minute if you're not led properly or you're not doing the right training to realize that you're no longer an employee. Like, you are of yourself, but you're also a business owner. And as you said, like that foundation where you have to live your core values, right before that, you have to figure out what they are.
Exactly. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs, Krystal, forget that that's important to know. And actually, that's a big part of my kick-ass leadership program.
Love
Uh,
that.
Actually going through a big shift right now, but just as I was talking to you earlier about my
Yeah.
latest launch, lots of learnings from online launches. But all that to say is that I teach people how to develop and to solidify their mission, vision, and core values.
Yes.
And I think a lot of founders, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, however people identify as an entrepreneur, I think they forget that. And so that's a big part of the Kick-Ass Leadership Program, but also just the foundation of Ripple Effect Leadership is really trying to encourage people to figure out what their core values are. And some people come to me and say, well, should I have my own personal core values and my business core values? And I said, well, that's completely up to you, but I personally think it's one and the same.
Yeah.
Like, my core values personally are my core values for Ripple Effect, which are
Yes.
creativity. I mean,
Yeah.
creativity, my home
Yeah.
office,
Love it.
um, fun. And those are two things that you don't hear a lot about in leadership,
You don't. No,
right?
it's very true. It's very
And
true.
so I'm trying to shift that perspective.
Yeah.
Right?
And it is interesting because when I actually did the exercise of figuring out my core values for my business, it was at the same time that I was trying to figure out personally what I wanted from life. And one thing for me, I realized reliability was huge.
Yes.
Saying something and meaning it and doing it. So a lot of the times I would kind of get into this disconnect if someone say, "Oh, I'll call you back," and like they didn't call.
Yeah.
And I was trying to figure out, why does that bother me so much? Like,
Yeah.
other than just being annoyed that they didn't call, whether it's a client or a friend. Um, and then realizing it's because it's a core value. Like it's something that if I can understand that that's important to me, then I can surround myself with people that also it's important to. And something with fun. If you're in a situation where it's all like every day, then you're not going to be able to be your best self.
Yeah,
That's really
absolutely.
cool. Um, for your kick athlete, so I know we're kind of we could talk for hours and hours. We
Yeah.
established this
Yeah.
before. So the best way to get involved with your company, so you have your kick-ass leadership course. How do people get involved with that? I think I would like to get involved with that. So
Yeah,
how does one do that?
absolutely. So the Kick-Ass Leadership Program is kind of like my signature program through Ripple Effect Leadership. It's
Okay.
my online program and community. And so people, when they sign up and when they join, they have automatic access to the membership, which includes 6 modules. The
Love it.
modules include things like shifting mindset around how we see ourselves as the leader of our business, uh,
Yes.
building a growth mindset as well. I also weave in a lot of personal and professional stories as to how I overcame
Nice.
situations. There's also an entire module around self-leadership and how we lead ourselves and self-accountability. And then there's
Fantastic.
2 modules that really focus on the mission, vision, and core values. And I would say that if you've already done that work, but it's been over like 4 or 5 years, it's a
Yeah.
good time just kind of check in with yourself to go through the process and say like, hey, has anything shifted with my core values? Has anything shifted with my mission and vision of my business?
Yes.
And then there is a whole module around hiring people for your team. And I realize there's a lot of solopreneurs who don't have team members, hence solopreneur, but they might be contracting people out to help with like marketing or branding or
Yes.
content. So really, really important to know the core values of your business so that you make sure you align yourself with the right people. So that's that module.
Absolutely. I love
And then
that.
yeah, thanks. And then the last module is all about like putting the ripple effect into action, right? Building those
Amazing.
cultures of accountability, communication, wellness, whatever the case may be. And then there's lots of bonuses as well, including my inbox management mini course, which is just 1 hour and it's game changing for people. I literally
Love
have helped
it.
go from tens of thousands of emails to hundreds in an hour to 90 minutes with my system.
That's amazing. And I think it's important. So if you've done, like for me, like I said, I did the core values as an entrepreneur on my own. But my colleague who you know, Mina Nguyen, she and I formed a team. So I have an assistant and Mina and I work together. And so I think doing that exercise again, and I think she just won one of your
She
contests.
did. So she just part of my leadership reboot last week online. She won my new ebook, which is From
Amazing.
Overwhelmed to Organized. So it's a little 22-page ebook that I put together.
Love
Um,
it.
and actually all of my programs right now this week are 30% off until Friday, October 11th. I know for people who might be watching this later, but that might not be relevant to you. But I often have launches online, but also
Yeah.
um, check out rippleeffectleadership.ca for all of my resources and programs. The other new mini course I have is the No BS Guide to Tackling Imposter Syndrome. And so once again,
Important.
it is that'll be uploaded to the Kick-Ass Leadership Program as well. So anybody who does join the Kick-Ass Leadership Program now or later, they have access to all new content. On top of which, I'm building a community, right? So
Yeah.
we have right now a private Facebook group, but we're getting rid of that because engagement, once again, and I think a lot of people
Yeah.
Facebook, but we're gonna, I think, move over to Slack. I don't know if you've
Mm.
ever before
Yeah.
used it.
Yeah, we use Slack for our
So I
team.
think we're gonna move to that, try it out. But all that to say, it's an opportunity to connect with each other, to share wins, to share challenges, to support each other, to share
Love
resources
it.
with each other. And then part of the Kick-Ass Leadership Program as well is my monthly, what I call my VIP Ripple Maker sessions. So
Nice.
just an opportunity once a month to come online as a group, learn something new. We either dig into more content from the program
Yeah.
or I have a guest speaker that comes on. And those are all recorded and uploaded to the membership. So if somebody misses it, they have
Yeah.
access to it.
Oh,
Absolutely.
that's amazing. This is really cool. I think I definitely want to do this kick-ass leadership course. And I would say for realtors right now, like it's been a year. It has been a weird year for real estate. I'm hearing it from like from coast to coast, from the US here in Canada. Um, our buyers and our sellers are kind of they're really overwhelmed, they're exhausted, realtors are exhausted. And I think this is the time when the market's kind of being weird, that's the best time to learn and to be your best self. And this is a fantastic opportunity. I love that you can do it. Like you can sign up and it's already ready for you. So it's not like you have to have this time available. Because I know right now, like with schedules, it can be really tough going into the holidays, but it is going to get quiet soon. And what a great time to learn and grow.
Yeah.
So,
I'll also add, Krystal, that with this version of Kick-Ass Leadership, because having built a couple other little online programs, I've learned a lot the last couple of years.
yeah,
But there's a lot of videos, there's a lot of audio, like little podcasts as well. So it's
nice,
not all just like reading text.
good,
Anytime there's a lesson where there is a lot of text, 9 out of 10 times I actually have a podcast as an option. If people are like,
nice.
what, I got
Yep.
this fatigue, or I'm going for a walk and I want to listen to this on my walk.
Yes.
But all the lessons are bite size. I would say anywhere from like 3 to 5 minutes to 20 minutes. There's
Fantastic.
maybe a
Okay.
couple that are a little bit longer than that, but all in all, bite size. Because yeah, I mean, it's about carving out time, but also not burning out, and
Yes.
also not. I want people to take some time to take in the information as well, right?
Yeah.
And I will also say that if anybody purchases the program between now and this Friday, you also get my one-on-one accountability package, which I'm calling it now
Ooh.
the kickstart sessions.
Yeah.
So there's a project that you've been having a hard time getting off the ground or need some help getting kind of reorganized in your business. It includes 2 1-hour sessions with me and a personalized action plan that I create with you. That
Fantastic.
package is always available, but this week it's being tagged on to the Kick-Ass Leadership
That's
Program.
awesome. Well, you definitely have one new sign up with me. And I think anyone
You're gonna make
listening
me
would
cry.
definitely,
Thanks.
this is so good. I'm an avid learner, but I'm loving every piece of this. And I hope anyone that listens before Friday can get the deal. But even if not, I think
The
it's just
value,
invaluable.
yeah, I would say even though after Friday it'll be back to its regular price,
Yep.
the value that you get even just from the
Is there.
monthly sessions
Yeah.
is huge. I mean, we're talking, regular price is just under $1,500 for the Kick-Ass Leadership Program versus like tens of thousands of dollars to hire a leadership consultant, right?
Yeah.
To work with you one-on-one. Whereas, like I said, just trying to build that community of people who care about leading themselves and
For
growing their
sure.
also doing it without burning out and supporting each other along the way. So yeah, thanks, Krystal.
Oh, absolutely. And so if anyone got sticker shock from that price, I think the key to remember is it's investing in your business. So Brian Buffini, who I'm a big fan of, I talk about him a lot in this podcast. The idea is to take 10% of either what you earn or what you hope to earn and invest that back into your business. And if it's going to make you a better leader and run your business better, which means you'll be you're better salesperson, better realtor, better entrepreneur, whatever that is, you will get more success. You will get more money. It's investing in. And just to do that mindset shift, because when I did that when I did the mindset shift, it changed everything.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. So thank you so much, Janic. It's been really great to chat with you. And if anyone wants to reach out to Janic, she said, so it's rippleeffectleadership.ca.
Yeah.
Wonderful. But
Yeah.
also on Instagram and YouTube.
Yeah, well, yeah, just starting out that YouTube channel. It's a baby channel, but we're gonna get that going in the next couple of months. And yeah, Instagram and LinkedIn, I would say, are my other 2 social media outlets that I spend a lot of time on. So yeah, thanks, Krystal.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, thank you so much, everyone. I am Krystal Lee Moore Lucier, also known as your Home Sweet Home 519 Realtor, Krystal Lee Moore. This is Realtor Life, and we are so, so happy that you joined us today. Have a great day, guys.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.